Okay, sorry about that. I think we can go ahead and get this started and see what happens. ZBrush, go away. Yes, there you are. Hi. Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, Beach. Hello, Standing. Hello, Night. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you are all ready for the weekend. Before I forget, so a little after the stream is going to end, so it's going to be around 3 Eastern, midnight Pacific, give or take. There's going to be a total lunar eclipse tonight. So it's going to be a blood red moon. It's going to be very, very spooky and shiny. What I was seeing on the map, it is going to be predominantly visible on the continental North America. So Canada, Mexico, US, Central America, all that. Unfortunately, I think the rest of the world is going to miss the show this time. But lunar eclipses are pretty frequent, so hopefully another one will happen soon enough. But yes, if you guys are still up after the stream, it's definitely worth poking your head outside and seeing if you can see it, because it should be quite the sight. I hope I get to see it. It has literally been every kind of weather today. We've had some bright sunny skies. We had rain that was so heavy it looked like hail. There was some thunder. There was some light rain. It didn't know what it wanted to do today, so it's just kind of done a little bit of everything, which honestly, I get that. I feel that. But I just hope it clears up tonight so we get to at least see the moon for a little while. Should be in the penumbra, right? For a few hours. That is the one nice thing, is the lunar eclipses last much longer. Solar eclipses last, well, I suppose the entire track of it lasts a while, but in a particular area, solar eclipse only lasts for a couple minutes. And the totality is only 2 or 3 minutes long. It's a hell of a thing, though. I went to one back in 2017. And that was an incredible experience. And having done it once, I kind of get how some people become eclipse chasers and just travel around the world to wherever the eclipses are showing up, and spend a little time there and then watch it and then go check out the next one whenever it happens, because it's a hell of an experience and it's a good excuse to travel. I should travel more. I cannot get into the specifics of why today sucked so much. It's very secretive, but today sucked. Today was infuriating. Yeah, I was very upset, and even my boss afterwards told me to take the rest of the day off, and I was like, boss, it's my end of day. And he's like, well, take off early tomorrow. I get it. So yeah, some days it do be like that. I've just not been sleeping well this week at all. I don't know if I'm sick. I might be just sick enough for it to be messing with my sleep, and then I get up. I almost missed my meeting this morning. I woke up and it was time for stand up, and I'm like, fuck. So I dragged my sorry ass out of bed and I made it to work, but it was one of those days. It was just one of those days. But it's okay. It's okay. We got the stream going now. I don't have a lot of brain power. I don't got much brain juice to work with tonight. But hope it gets better. So I hope so. Thank you, Mage. I hope. Hopefully this is the worst of it, and hopefully tomorrow is kinder. At the very least, it'll be shorter. We shall see. We shall see. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could talk about it, but like I said, I definitely cannot. NDAs and all that. What? you guys doing? I hope your Thursdays were good. I hope they were at the very least. I hope at the very least they were meh. But then you'd have to kill us. It's honestly not impossible. You know how them lawyer types can get. Okay, it was to the point, because normally, you know, we always do the out of touch intro on Thursday. I'm just like, I don't even have the energy for out of touch. I'm that out of it, I can't be out of touch. Not being able to talk about it means venting doesn't work, but I hope the stream at least makes you smile tonight. Yeah, well, I always have the streams to look forward to. And okay, so the plan for tonight, I want to do at least a little bit of dev work, because one, it's been a while and I want to get back on the horse. And two, we kind of left off on a bit of a question mark. So I at least want to explore that for an hour or two tonight and sort of look at what we might do as a plan. I don't think we'll get a lot into the actual doing of it, but we can at least sort of do like a test run and go, okay, that will probably work, and then we can really start cracking into it next week. Yes. For the second half, we might do some drawing. We might play some Monty Hunter. We'll decide. We'll decide when we get there what we feel like doing. The only downside with Monster Hunter, obviously, is there's a lot of like, okay, shut everything down, right? Everything else gotta go. All the extra stuff gotta turn off. We gotta shift gears to be able to play Monster Hunter. When you fall off that horse, you get back up, and you eat that horse. Will you eat that horse with me, Vegeta? What the hell are you talking about? God, I love that show. I love that show so fucking much. I know they did end up kind of continuing to run with it for a long time after, and even I think they did some stuff with Majin Buu, but you know, at least the original intent was to end at the Cell Saga, and I think that made a lot of sense. Considering how many times Toriyama wanted to end that series. It was like, yeah, let's call it here. Let's call it here before things get even weirder. Also, you run with a project for... God, how long did DBZ Abridged even run for? Like, that show is a time capsule, because the first episode they're making MySpace jokes. And by like partway through the Frieza saga, they were even like, no one does MySpace anymore. It's all about Facebook. Yeah, Burnout's a hell of a thing. But yeah, they were running on that for so long, and they'd even started running other Abridged series, and I get that they were just kind of like, it's not there. And I feel like especially doing something like comedy, right? If your heart's not in it, it's not gonna work. You gotta want to do it, and if that's not calling to you, then you go find something that is. I think that's fair. I think having the awareness and the discipline to decide to do that, rather than say, well, this is really popular and everybody likes it, so we're just going to keep milking that cow and eating that horse. I think that's good. I think that is... Oh, that's what the Boo bits were. Okay, that makes sense. I never actually watched those. They showed up in my recommended at some point, so I was like, oh, I'll get around to that at some point. Which I have not. I was watching, because they were doing Hell for Infinite Losers. I was watching that for a little while. That was kind of fun. I feel like that was just them doing the voices that they really enjoyed doing, and was like, I want to keep doing this for a bit more. God, Takahata fucking loves his cell voice. You will still bust that out at the first opportunity. I mean, admittedly, it's also his Alucard voice, like they're effectively the same thing. But it's just, yeah, it's just kind of his pompous asshole voice. Yeah, honestly, it's just been kind of a sleepy week. I'm hoping to catch up on some sleep this weekend, but yeah, March is just off to a bit of a languid start, I suppose, which is not terrible, not the worst thing, but it's also just like okay, why don't we go ahead and start in on this whole rigmarole. Is that a thing people still say? Probably not. Definitely not. Okay, I'm gonna move OBS over there, so I'm gonna be looking this way a lot. It's okay. I'm looking at you guys. Hi, chat. I'm gonna jump down here. I'm gonna do a react to hosting a bridge streamer. Oh, that's fun. That's cool. Yeah, I don't watch much of Takahata's streams. I like him. It's just, I don't know, never doesn't cross my radar that much. I don't know. I know Artgun was showing up there for a while. They were kind of a friend of the show. Artgun still does some really incredible work. Shit. You can tell where my brain is at. It's not here. Okay. So, what I was basically saying, because I talked with some of my coworkers about this the other week, and from the sounds of things, essentially, if we want to use a more traditional state machine like we have set up and not get really into the weeds with some of the newer stuff that Unreal is implementing, right? We can use the animations that we have, but we are going to have to trim them down. And unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be a non-destructive way to do that. What I was hoping we could do is essentially sort of say, start at this frame, terminate at this frame, right? But it doesn't seem like it wants to do that. I don't see a way to do that non-destructively. So what I think we're going to have to do is, and what my coworker linked me a video, which basically shows how to do that, right? You just copy the animation file, scroll to the keyframe that you want, delete everything before it, scroll to where you want it to end, delete everything after it, and save that. And then we use that instead. So I don't like it for two reasons, right? I don't like it because it's going to increase the file size of the project, because we're going to essentially have two of all the animations that we want to use. We have the master copy, and then we have the cropped version. You know, it would be a lot easier to just go from, or to just say start here, end here. But it doesn't seem like it's going to support that. So we'll give one more look and just sort of see if there is some way that we can set that up. But if not, then we'll sort of go through the process of cropping some of the animations, go through the state machine, and see if that starts blending in a nicer way than what we have right now. Sound good? Let me pour some tea before we get going into this. You guys got anything exciting planned for the weekend? Any fun happenings? Or are you guys just gonna be chilling out? I might try and meet up with some friends for dinner tomorrow. They're putting ideas together, but I don't know. With me feeling under the weather, little under the weather, you know, I don't want to be driving long distances and I don't want to be risking getting them sick. So it's just like, I don't know. We'll see how I feel in the morning. Where the F did I leave the blueprint for this? There you are. No, these are the animations. Son of a... Uh-oh. Is it here? There you are. Is this right? I think that's right. Yes. Okay, there we go. So let's bring this up. There you are. I'm just gonna check YouTube really quickly. Okay, yeah, this looks like it's still going. Okay, so we got default. So that's there. And then if we go into... Okay, so jump is currently using this guy. I'm just gonna put some lo-fi on in the background while we work on this. So yeah, the big problem that we're running into with this, right, is there's this like whole lead-in animation, you know, a step or two. And if we go back into the actual playtime and we run the game, you can see it does okay. What the heck are those? Okay, with some shader, I guess. So you can see the initial is okay, but then especially on landing, the animation takes too long. So we might want to trim down. I think we will want to trim down the animation a little bit. I think the jump one we can work with fine for now. Let's leave that alone. The big one is going to be the landing animation. Right, okay, so we have this whole blend thing that we're doing depending on the animation that we want to use. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do then, there's an audio file associated with these and it gets very annoying. Okay, so let's add a folder and we're gonna call them Jordan Animations Cropped, right? And copy that, and we're going to paste it over here. And then you can go in here. Okay, so what would be very helpful is if it actually showed me what animation is being applied here, right? If I could just double click and go through that way. Granted, with how long some of these might last, it might not be a big deal, but I would rather just kind of go through this way rather than having to like cross-reference the name. But we might have to do that. I think we're gonna have to do that. Okay, that's fine. Oh, what was it? Heavy R foot. Okay. So we got a few of them, right? Jump, RL, land, stand. What is the difference with these? Okay, so that's going left. Is this one going to right? Okay, so that's kind of going forward. And then This one, okay, goes into a walk, so we don't really want that. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna keep the one that we have right now. Okay, so can you show me this in browse to asset? There we go. So we're gonna copy this into the folder that we just made. And I'm gonna add a crop suffix to the end of it. So we bring this one up. And now here's where I need the video. So we're gonna bring this up and go over here. So we copy it. And then, so technically this is an animation sequence. Yeah, it's the same file type that it looks like he has. It looks a little bit different, I think, just because everything is unfurled here. Yeah, that looks more correct. That looks normal. All right, so we're gonna go through here. We find the point where we want it, right? So if we zoom in so we can see the animation a bit better. Oh, wait, why is she going to the side like that? Yeah, okay, that is a lateral movement. Was it RL stand? Sprint stand. Oh, it must have been this one. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Let's do it on the one that we have right now, just for practice. We don't need it, but better to try on something that we don't care about, right? Okay, I'm just thinking, so if we start like right here, maybe frame 28, and then remove 0 to frame 28, okay? And then this needs to be pretty short, right? So if we go maybe to like 35. Move from frame 36 to 87, sure. Okay, so now it just goes like that, which is still a fairly long animation, right? But just for the sake of argument, let's use this instead of what we have right now. Okay, so if we go back into here, then that loads that up, and we can go right here. And we can put this one right there. Yeah, so that seems much, I mean, it feels shorter, right? And if we go back to the game, we let everything load up. Why is it glowing like that? I want to say it's a bit better. It's kind of hard to tell, I admit. I'll also admit the jump height is low enough that it's kind of hard to see, like, yeah, it's hard to judge. I think it's still so buggy that we're having a hard time getting a good judgment of it. Okay, so we have the jump landing blend, and then we have jump break, which has no result. That's just there to loop back. Just a double check. Okay, so the speed. Oh, right, it's negative 1,000. And then the speed would be 0. So if we set this to negative 1,000, and then we put that in the air, and then you go like that, the landing does seem better. It seems better. So let's try that with the one that we actually wanted to use. So we're gonna go to I believe it's forward stand. Yeah, that looks right. So if we let that play, whoop, goodbye. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, cool. So let's copy that over. Sorry, I keep forgetting to turn the right windows off and on. Okay, so we're gonna grab this one. Browse to asset. No. Over here, please. Other window. Copy that. There we go. Okay, so then we're gonna have that. I also got a little bit of chocolate with me. Just because some days you need chocolate, right? You just gotta pick yourself up with a little bit of chocolate. I remember when they invented chocolate. Some days, every day is a chocolate day. That's true. That is true and fair. So yeah, the big difference is basically we want to get rid of this whole long in the air period, right? We want to get right about to where the character starts to touch the ground. Right? Like maybe right here at frame 30. Wait, why does it say 0? Why does it say 47 if that's frame 30? There we go. Okay, now it's correct. And then so if we go to maybe another frame 30. No, don't delete it again. Fuck. Fuck. How do I undo? There you go. Wait, no? Shit. I think it undid both. Or no, it did keep it. Okay, so that looks good. And then if we scrub to about frame 30, that seems pretty good. So we're gonna delete frames 30 to 115. So now the whole thing just goes boop. That looks like it'll work a lot better. I dare say. Okay, go ahead and save that. And then we're gonna go back to the Blender. I wish it wouldn't overwrite these. I wish it would set them up in different windows so we don't keep having to like recrop it over and over again, but it's fine. So then we put that right there. And if we go right here, then we can do is in air. Just move her over a little bit so you can see her behind chat. And then, bam. Now I am noticing a little bit of a hiccup there, right? Like the landing animation blends okay. That blends okay. But then she sort of comes out of it and there's a meh. So where is that happening? Okay. So it seems like, yeah, okay. So it seems like whatever. So maybe the rules. Yeah, so anim time remaining is less than a tenth of a second. Okay, that seems reasonable enough. But then I think the sort of big question is like, what is the sort of transition rate? What is the rule set for going through here, right? Somewhere in here, if my memory serves, we can sort of see, like, we go in here. Is there something we can click on? Details? Yeah, here we go. So we can sort of edit what the blend rate is. And what I'm wondering, what might be happening is if the duration, or yeah, if it's blending between here and here, which doesn't have anything, and then this is blending into there, is it actually blending between the idle and the landing animation, or is it blending between the landing and nothing, and then the nothing to the idle? It could just be that this 0.2 is too short. So let's try upping that to a whole second and seeing what that looks like. Okay, let's also increase this to less than 0.5. So we're going to compile everything. We're going to go back to the animation state, and then you go like that. Okay. So it's definitely smoother, but it's also too fast, right? There's this weird sort of like land blit that she's good now. She's better. She's all good. So I'm wondering if there's a way that we can like ramp it. Let's try circular in and see what that looks like. So simulate is in air. Compile that. If we increase it, is that going to look better or is it going to look worse? Okay, so then if we do 0.2, is inverting the curve going to look better or worse? Oh, I need to compile. It was like, why does it look the same? Okay, so circular out is worse. That looks a lot worse. If we do, I think we were on cubic before. Transition crossfade you shared. I think we're gonna have to leave that alone, right? I'm wondering. Okay, can I go back to the animation? Because this is only 30 frames long now. So if this is running at So I think it's getting to about here, right? So yeah, it's probably got about half a second left here, and then it just snaps back to the idle pose. So I'm wondering how we can smooth that out a little bit. We might need to save that for next time. I think at the very least, what we can say is it does seem like it is performing better. Not great yet, mind, but better. Also, I might pare down. I might pare down this this whole blend graph a little bit because it's a bit silly. I think we might have gone a little overboard with what we want to do here, right? Yeah, I think this is... I don't know that we're actually getting like to the effect that we want here. Like we're not getting all the way to the bottom, and that might be part of what's throwing it off as well, is that the actual result we're getting is somewhere like in here, and so it's going, well, how long should this be? How long does this need to be? What does the transition out of it need to look like? So if we go back to this animation, and we can basically say with a reasonable estimate that all of our transitions, well, at least all of the standing landings, should probably be at the same like mid 30s. So this is using, what is this using? Stand Lightfoot. L-foot. Okay, so neutral jump, B stand, Lightfoot. Maybe we should actually use F stand. I feel like that's gonna maybe look a little bit nicer. Yeah, because that's coming in forward, whereas this is coming in from behind, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so let's use forward. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make a new version. We're going to call it _crop. And open that up. And then we're going to disable root motion and sort of scrub through until we find right there. That looks good. Remove frame 0 to 15. And then right about... Yeah, see, all this is just kind of, we don't need it. All right, so right about there, let's say. Yeah, we can go to frame 25. Here, you know what? For the sake of keeping it about even, we'll go to frame 32. Okay. Save that. And then we can go back in here. I feel like there has to be a faster way, a simpler way to go back and forth between these. I mean, there's this whole list, but you have to know what you're looking for, right? Yeah, I don't know. I just wish it didn't like combine them into the same tab. If I drag this up here, will that work? No. No, that would be too easy. Okay. So now we put you right there. Now we can go back here. We're going to compile everything. Save that. And let's do the same sort of point of comparison, right? So if we have you set at 0, and then we drop it, and she go, but That looks pretty good. That actually looked pretty good. Okay, so let's set that back to 1,000. And bop. Okay, so that's still bopping too fast, right? The transition on that does not look good. The midpoint transition doesn't look very good either. Okay, so we are gonna have to find something that gets us a happier middle ground. Okay, let me try one more thing here. If we go into transition rules and we set this to be a second. Compile that, and then we run that. Oh, that just skips it entirely, basically. Okay, so 0.25. $0.15. That looks okay. There's a little bit of jitter right at the end there, where it sort of flails the limbs a bit to get it into an okay position. Hi, the code. Thank you for the 33-month resub. I really appreciate it. I hope you're having a good Thursday. How you doing? Welcome in, welcome in. This is very kind of you. Yeah, so there's a little bit of jitter in there, but it's looking better. We can kind of keep playing around with that to figure out. If I do, let's try exponential in and see what that looks like. Might be nice. Might be ass. Could be nice ass. That's possible. We set this up to a full second duration. What does that look like? This might actually make it worse. But certainly didn't help. What if we keep this at the same transition time frame? Yeah, it doesn't really help it, does it? So this is what Fortnite coding looks like. Kind of. It kind of does, frankly. I don't know how much Epic is using some of their newer tools for working in Fortnite, but the premise is the same, yeah. I mean, the last version I'm on is 5.5.1. I don't know if they put anything out since then, but it's going okay. I do like some of the changes that they've made to the tools. It's helpful. And obviously I wouldn't be able to do any of this by myself. I'm trying to figure out exactly where this jitter is happening. Sinusoidal. What the Gesundheit? What? Mathematicians come up with the silliest of words. Dang it. Automatic rule trigger time. When should the automatic transition rule trigger relative to time remaining on the relevant asset player? Less than 0 means trigger the transition crossfade direction seconds before the end of the asset player. So a standard blend would finish just as the asset player ends. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone unless we know exactly what it would want to have happen. What does linear look like? I mean, if it works, then we use it, but yeah. I just wish I had a better sense of like, oh, this will get us the effect that we want, right? Okay, so if we take that and then we set this to 0.5, right? Maybe. Out of curiosity, I think 5 seconds is obviously... Well, I say that's 5 seconds. It might not be 5 seconds. It almost works. It's a little jumpy, but it's at least smooth, right? That... You know what? Let's try it. Let's try one more thing. So we're gonna set 100, so we actually have some speed going, right? Now they're falling, and then they hit the ground. Okay, so I will say that, like, transition out of the sprint looked very nice, right? That I think worked pretty well. We could go in and maybe add a little... Well, if we add too much time, then this is gonna run over. I think it's already too long. You know, assuming that each of our sort of transition windows is only about 1/3 of a second, we're almost skipping it, right? Let's try circular in. Yeah, there's just a little bit of jitter in there. That 0.5 seems to sit pretty with it. And anything shorter than that, it feels like it doesn't work very well. If we go to 25s, okay, so 25s are sort of in the range of our normal run speed, and then we do floating. And we hit the ground. And that goes into a walk. And then that goes into a run. Yeah. Okay, so one of the animations is not does not have its roots set. That one. F land roll our foot. That's unfortunate. Does this one work? Or is this one locked? No. Why is that not? Shit. Okay. Well, that's not great. Unfortunately, if either of those are not gonna do the thing, then we can't use those. So you can't have the character drifting, right? Those are right. Continue, post block transition, land, walk, curves, disable pelvis adjustments. I'm just looking to see if there's something that's allowing it to move, even though we disabled the root motion, and I don't see anything. That's unfortunate. Okay, well, live with that. So I think it was this one, right? Yeah. So just get rid of that for now, I suppose. Are you also broken? Shit. Okay, I think that'll work. For now. Shame about the roll, but it's what it is. Okay, save that. Though admittedly, some of those longer animations might also cause us a lot of trouble anyway. Well, it really doesn't know what to do with that combination, does it? I think it's like right in here. Yeah, speed value is 50. Yeah, it really just doesn't know how to blend those animations together, huh? If we take you, we drag you down like that, what does this middle ground look like? Okay, that's a bit nicer. There's definitely some like... There's definitely some weirdness in there. Sample smoothing. Weight speed. What is weight speed? If greater than 0, this is the speed at which the sample weights are allowed to change. The speed of 1 means the sample weight can change from 0 to 1, or 1 to 0, in 1 second. A speed of 2 means that it would take half a second. This allows the blend space to switch to new parameters without going through intermediate states, effectively blending between where it was and where the new target is. I was reading that. For example, imagine we have a blend space for locomotion, moving left, forward, and right. Now if you interpolate the inputs of the blend space itself, from one extreme to another, you'll go from left to forward to right. As an alternative, by setting the sample weight speed to a value higher than 0, it will go directly from left to right without going through moving forward first. Okay, interesting. Damping ratio. Only used when the type is set to a spring damper. A value of 1 will move quickly and smoothly to the target without overshooting. Values as low as 0 can be used to encourage some overshoot, and values around 0.7 can make post transitions look more natural. Maximum speed Aurelius. If this axis is degrees, then you can use a value of 90 to limit the turn rate to 90 degrees per second. Only used when greater than 0, and the type is set to spring, damper, or exponential. Okay, what are the other damper types? Let's try ease in and ease out. Doesn't really help that much. I'm mostly just looking to see what gets rid of that little stutter on the foot, right? Nothing really seems to be helping it that much. Cubic? It's a bit better. I wouldn't call it good, but it's better. We go down here. Oh, that's bad. That's really bad. Excuse. Oh dear. Damping ratio. Only used when the type is set to spring damper. A value of 1 will move quickly and smoothly to target while overshooting. Did Mix It Up break again? I think it did. Hang on, let me check that. Why does it keep breaking like this? Sorry. It sure did. Okay, hang on. Let me... I wonder if something's wrong with its Twitch connection. Let me do the bonk really quickly and then I'm gonna restart it. Yeah, okay, hang on. Let me check something really quickly. Where are you? Huh, okay. I'm just gonna restart it. Dumb thing. Okay, so while that's going... Oh, that is weird. OBS doesn't even freak out that it's gone, which it should. But I feel like that kind of says something too. I don't know. In any case... Let me see if this works now. There we go. It's good now, I suppose. Okay, so... I suppose a better question. So if we go like this... So that looks okay. And then that's the same thing, right? Yeah, so it seems like the big issue is right in here, right? Where it's sort of trying to figure out like how fast and how high should the feet be moving. And it doesn't really know how to reconcile those. Out of curiosity, if we start here, yeah, see, if like we go here and then sort of smooths down, so it doesn't seem to know what to do with that. The radial seems to be a little bit better. Almost. Not quite, but a little bit better. Oh! Oh, I'm dumb. I'm doing all these adjustments to the y-axis when the main thing I'm measuring is the x-axis, and that doesn't really seem to be... So I haven't actually been changing anything on the one that I'm actually concerned about. Almost, right? I suppose the big question... Well... Okay, let's leave this where it is. Because I think ultimately what we also want to do is get rid of a lot of the end of these animations, right? We are eventually going to pare most of them down. Or all of them down, even. I think? Yeah, R-foot heavy crop. F land run heavy L-foot. Oh wait, there we go. So I can just navigate to that there. And then we're gonna copy that over here. And then you. So you go over here. So right about here is where we want it. Right, so we're gonna go 0 to 27, and then you, we can maybe go like right here. So hit the ground. Yeah, so let's say frame 20. I want to say that should work. So 21 to 26. So then it just goes bam, like that, right? Doesn't need to have a lot of lead out. It's just there to sort of smooth the transition between the falling animation and the running animation. So we go back in here. And we're gonna delete that one and put this in its place. I honestly don't know if this is going to play any smoother, but I'm just going to reset a lot of these values. Set this to 0.25. Okay, so I want to save that, I don't think this is going to work super well. I think we're still kind of in a weird spot where we don't have things quite set up the way that we want them to be. Yeah, so this... like, that seems a bit better, right? I think part of the problem is that we're working at the bottom of the graph. A lot of our jump heights right now are going to be more somewhere up in here, right? So if we crop you down... no, that's me being a fucking idiot. Okay, hang on. I've been catching up with The Mandalorian. I've got one episode left of season 3, and season 3 is still not as good as season 1 and season 2 were, but it's enjoyable at least. It is interesting. I think the big problem that I run into is there is stuff that happened in the Book of Boba Fett, which I tried watching and didn't really enjoy. But it gets brought up in The Mandalorian. So it's kind of running into the same problem that the MCU ran into, of like, oh, you want to watch this show? Here's the homework. Right? And you know, to be fair, that was 100% the case with the cartoons, right? Rebels, Bad Batch was like, oh, you haven't watched Clone Wars? I hope you're ready to be confused. I think it's easier when the homework material is really entertaining by its own merit. I didn't like Book of Boba Fett, so I'm just kind of like, okay, I guess I'll just figure it out as we go. You know, there's enough exposition and everything within The Mandalorian itself that it's not like, oh, I have to have gone and watched this instead. But it definitely helps. This is such a massive expanse that some stuff will get lost in the cracks, but I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. It's not the worst situation, but it definitely doesn't help it. Alright, I'm just doing a couple more of these. Wait, what? There's no... There's no apostrophe, you fucking idiot. Alright. So if we go in here, then we're gonna do the same thing, right? Oh, where'd I go? Where'd you? Fuck. Fuck! Oh, I don't have the window. Okay, so yeah, same thing. So right there. 28. And then heavy landing. And we can go maybe right here. Yeah, let's go 30. Good. Bam. I don't know. For the most part, I enjoy it. I was thinking whether or not... So, Halo has this huge problem that I don't think anybody can really get around. That the Human Covenant War is the most interesting part of Halo's entire canon, right? And trying to go back before that isn't very interesting, and trying to go after it is not working. And I feel like Star Wars doesn't suffer from that problem as much. Like, there's definitely a lot more of the galaxy that you can explore and have fun with, and have interesting adventures and get really deep into. But the most successful elements have all centered around the Imperial era. And it's a weird kind of yes but situation that I feel like everyone goes, we're sick of the Empire. We want Star Wars adventures in other time periods and other locations. Stop doing Imperial stuff. And then they do that and people go, but we didn't like that. And yes, a lot of it comes down to the quality of the writing, but if you're just sort of doing it in analytics, it's like, well, people liked Imperial era stuff and they didn't like pre or post Imperial era, so what are we supposed to do with that? Okay, so this was landing heavy right foot. So we go back in here. Where was that being used? I think it's right here. Okay. So yeah, I think we're still gonna run into... Okay, let's do 2 more, just because I think that will get us sort of a good middle ground. Halo felt like it had a massive writing disconnect. I agree that problems that still pisses how they off the rookie from ODST. Yeah, that was completely unceremonious. I don't know. I just feel like, well, for one, I feel like Bungie played very fast and loose with their writing. Having these novelizations that were setting things up one way and then they would just completely disregard it or even contradict it. Like, they didn't know what to do. And I will give 343 the credit of them trying to pick up that mess and go, okay, what do we actually do with this now? But what they landed on didn't work. Okay, yeah, let's do 2 or 3 more, just to try and sort of clean up this side, right? I feel like the sprinting animations we're only going to use in a handful of sections. So if we do like this top bar, I think that'll get us into a spot where we're like, okay, this is what this looks like. We can sort of start to get a sense of if the animation sequence is going to work. And if not, we'll need to figure out something else. The focus around the insurrection era things, human versus human. It would be interesting. I don't know that it would work for Halo. I don't know that it would carry the right feeling for what Halo wants to be thematically. That, to me, is the big problem with it. And then, yeah, post that, it's like, well, now we need something bigger, right? We need a bigger threat. We need something that is worse than the Covenant. It's like, stop. It always comes across as dumb when they try and do that. It's just dumb and melodramatic. the kind of sad thing is, like, thematically, Bungie loved exploring ideas of rampant AI and systems run amok, right? A lot of the stuff that sort of like the broad themes of Halo 5 was like, yeah, this kind of makes sense for a Bungie title. I know that was 343 at the time, but it's like this could have lined up if it had been like executed the right way and done in an interesting way, but it didn't come across. That's too short. Well, it could work. No, I think it's too short. Oh, are you dead? Yeah, let's go to 24, I think. Words conscriptions in the Covenant War, but before that they were hundreds of years as rebels in UNSC. Yeah, I don't know what they could have done. I mean, I think the big... I don't know. I don't know what would have sort of hit the right theme, and they definitely could have gone in a different sort of thematic direction with the series in general. But I don't know. I feel like nothing else kind of hits the mark of what the Human Covenant War set up, right? And so they're kind of just stuck in that era, which I feel like you could still do interesting things with. I feel like there's still plenty of like opportunity. Fuck, I overdid it. Yarisugichatta. You know, you could tell other stories from the war. Certainly an argument to be made of like, well, how interesting is any of that? But it's like Halo Reach was definitely very interesting, right? Even though it also made some really weird changes to the story that Halo fans already knew. It's like they just forgot or chose not to do anything about it. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you fucking up my animation like this? Okay, let's do the opposite, right? So we hit the ground, we run, and then we take 2 steps. Alright, so let's do 40, remove frames 45 to 65. Then we're going to do that. And then we're going to do 0 to 14. Admittedly, it's not a very long animation at this point, but we should see. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's just weird that, you know, they had a story that was already being told and then they just ignore it. Why is this fucking breaking? Okay. Close this, please. Delete that, please. No. Oh, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? Okay, so which one are we on right now? Land, walk, light. Neutral. Okay, so if we delete that, we put that right here. And then that one's cropped, and then that one's cropped. Okay, so we need land, run. Okay, so we have run heavy. Yeah, so we have 2 of those. And then we just need to grab this one. Okay, let's try this again. Something got really weird with this one. So we just need to go to like frame 14. We're gonna go 0 to 13. Okay, get rid of that. And then that goes like that. And so we hit the ground and we go 1, 2. Yeah, so 26 to 52. There we go. That looks better. Yeah. Good, good, good. Okay, cool. Save that. I don't know what the fuck was happening before. Okay. We're going to go back in here. We're going to get rid of this one. And drop this in its place. And save that. And we have one more to do. Oh no, we already did the landing one. Okay. So probably still have some weird elements about it, but I feel like hopefully it's a little bit better. Oh. It's not. It's weird. It's weird looking. Okay. So let's shrink that down to a more reasonable time frame. Okay, so then we got that, and then you are set to 0.25. If we set that to 0.025, see, we see more of the animation, which is nice, but then it does this weird like snap, which we don't want to see happening. If I set that back up to 1, how does that look? Closer. If we do circular out, I feel like this is not going to work, but how does that look? No, that makes it worse. If we do quartic, maybe quartic, compile. It's so close. Well, I say it's so close. I don't know that it's actually that close, but you get my point. If we make this a little bit longer, maybe? No, if we make this longer, yeah, it cuts it off sooner. Okay, let's try saying this is 0.15. That's not bad. It's not the cleanest, but it's not bad. If we put this back to its original 0.1, it might honestly be okay. It's now it doesn't have the time to run the transition smoothly. Oh, I wonder if I set that to 0.1 and then we increase this to maybe 2. Oh, but I wonder. I wonder if the lead out animation. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think we need to leave the tail alone. I think we need to leave the tail of the animation alone so that that has plenty of time to blend the animations. What we just need to cut off is the head. Whoops. Well, shit. Okay, hang on. Let's just go one more. Let's try and... So, see, this is why I didn't want to be destructive about it. Because now what we need to do is we need to go back in and we need to do the whole thing again. We can't just run it. Speed 50. So I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. That seems really weird to me and not at all helpful. Yeah, mostly just seeing is there. Okay, so we're currently at fall distance 1000, speed 1 at speed 50. So that's this guy. Yeah, so it's run heavy crop. So navigate to it. It's this one. And if we open that up, yeah, the problem is it just hits that and it doesn't have the time to have a smooth run out. Unfortunately, because we cropped it, yeah, it's just gone. It's just gone. So, what we gotta do, I think what we're gonna have to do is go back in here. We're gonna go here, open this up again. And we're gonna delete that, just so that it's not being referenced, right? And we're gonna look it up over here. We're gonna find the original one. And now we gotta delete this and hope that it doesn't break everything in the process of doing this. Okay. Well, I wasn't too happy about that, but what the fuck do you mean? Yeah, okay, so I just told you to get rid of that. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you like this? Hang on. Okay, so really wish you hadn't deleted the... Okay, so there's that, and then this one. Okay, why are you doing this? Asset already exists at the location with the... Are you sure about that? Because there's no file here. Okay. Oh, I don't like you. Okay. Let's just take this in here, right? We're gonna take this one. So we're gonna leave the tail on it, right? We're gonna leave the long part at the end so that it has plenty of time to run out that transition. I realized the window retargeted itself. Not super helpful, but it's doing its best. Right, so we're gonna get rid of basically everything right up to here. So then it goes pop, and then it has a nice long outward run animation. Do you have a recent? No, you don't. Of course you don't. That would be too fucking useful. I don't get why you closed it in the first place. Okay. Bring me back my blueprint, please. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to set the speed to 50 and the fall speed to -1000. And then we're going to put you over here a little bit. We're going to zoom back. And then you were going to fall. And then you hit the ground. Okay, so yeah, you have a very long outward animation time there. So now that we're going to have plenty of tail, we can adjust this, right? So we can set this to maybe like 0.25. Right, get a little bit more time there. Let's do a little bit longer. Let's do like 0.4. And we'll go back here. And then we're going to go in here. And then you can set your duration to 0.5. Let's do 1. And then we can smooth this out a little bit as well. We can do cubic in and out. And compile that. I don't see what that looks like. Pretty good. There's a little bit of difference just in the animation, like weight and everything, right? Like I think one is leaning a bit farther forward and such. But it's there. Okay, I think we can run it a bit more smoothly like that. And then I think this, let's set that up to 0.5 and set you to a 1.5 second duration. Compile that and see what that looks like. There we go. That was pretty clean. That looked pretty good. Yeah, so I think just the more time we can get it to give it, rather, to switch between the animations, the better, right? So delete, like I said, cutting off the heads of the animation, the parts where she's falling for a long duration before actually hitting the ground. We got to get rid of those. But then leaving the end bit so that we have plenty of time to sort of transition out. I think that would be good. So I'm gonna write this down because I don't wanna get into it tonight. I don't have the brain power to think about it. But let me grab a Post-it note. There's one and a pen. So what I'm thinking, right, is if we go, and this is still using the overcropped animation, so pay no mind to however jittery they are. If we set the speed to 0, and she's in the air, hits the ground, even that doesn't look terrible. So what I'm thinking about, right, is she hits the ground. The player wasn't moving her forward while falling. Let's just assume this is it's a possible player input scenario, right? Was not pushing her forward while falling. As soon as she hits the ground, the player starts pushing her forward. So the animation that it would initially start in with is the standing landing, right? Speed of 0, fall distance, hit the ground. And then once it's already in this animation, then the player says, okay, but I want to start running now. So the blend space should account for that, but that is a potential thing of like, do we need to sort of break early to get back into the running animation, right? That is a possibility. That is something that I think we will need to investigate. But that might also be something that we just have to play test, right? That we just sort of have to run through and go, is this a scenario that's going to happen? And if it does, how do we mitigate that? Okay, so yeah, that I think is going to be a next week problem. And yeah, we could go through and crop all these animations off. My brain, I think, is too foggy for it tonight. I'm glad we could kind of go in and just test to see how this was going to look and whether it was going to work at all. But yeah, I don't really have the numbers left to chew through the rest of this tonight. I'm glad it will work at the very least. So the other thing that we're gonna need to sort of experiment with going forward is what we can use. No, exactly. If we try and force it, we just burn out on it. We just overstress it. Hopefully next week we'll have more energy for tackling this. Or we just kind of do the same thing and whittle at it for a couple hours and then we switch to something else. So one thing that we will want to experiment with is blending animations. Like having, I forget exactly what the term in the engine is. It's like montage animations or something. Where, if you imagine, let's just take Halo, because we were talking about Halo, right? You almost sort of have like, what is the top half of the character doing and what is the bottom half of the character doing, right? If the character goes from running forward to running to the side, the animations need to change accordingly. But then the top half of the character needs to be looking in different directions depending on the player's input, right? So you can't have running forward, looking forward, running forward, looking up, running forward, looking left, running forward, looking left. The looking animations are an independent animation montage that is then layered on top of what the rest of the body's animation is doing. So we're gonna want to have something to that effect for, you know, Jordan throwing books and interacting with stuff, right? So right now, you know, if we hide this, I still don't know why my book is glowing, but don't worry about that part. You know, she runs around and then, oh, it's because the shaders are broken. Right now, she throws the book and the book just kind of yeets, right? There's no connection. There's no motion that she does that corresponds with that behavior. And, you know, depending on how much I wanted to like force the hand of the player, we could definitely have a thing of, well, she has to like plant her feet to throw the book, so you can't move and throw the book at the same time. That is an option. I don't think that would be very fun. So we would probably still allow the player to move the book, or still allow them to move around while throwing, right? But then we need to have some sort of animation layered on top of that so that it doesn't look strange, right? Like she doesn't stop running and just starts sliding around while she's throwing the book. Honestly, that could be something that becomes like a power-up over the course of it, because, you know, I sort of want there to be this like metaphor of her gaining understanding of it, gaining understanding of the book and how to use it, and in the process it becomes physically lighter and easier for her to use, right? So maybe early on, yes, she does have to like plant her feet and really use her whole body to swing it around and throw it like a, I guess like a shot put or like a sling, right? But then later on, she can do more like running and jumping and just sort of sending it where she wants it to go. So it could actually be something that we like initially impose that limitation and the animation sort of respond or, you know, reflect that, and then over time becomes more liberated and more fluid. So that's definitely something that we can explore, but we will definitely need to look into some of that montaging. But I'm glad at the very least what we have here does seem like it's going to work. It's obviously not going to be the most AAA dynamic animation system, whatever, but I'm also not a career animator, so fuck it. The other thing we're going to need to look into is cinematic animations, getting some of that nice pomp and circumstance, especially for our big bad villainess herself. She's going to do a lot of theatrics. Okay, so I think we've hit right around where the plan was. I want to spend about half the stream working on this, which I'd say we more or less did. So what we can do now is we can do some art time. We can just kind of chill and work on the intro screen some more. I think we got a lot of the prep work done. We just need to do some of the lighting. We could do that. We could play a little bit of Monster Hunter. I can check my Steam library and we can look to see if there's something else that we want to spend some time playing. Oh, Spring Sale's up. I don't really have anything else in mind. I'm just kind of... I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. Apparently Mecha Break is ending its demo pretty soon, which... I don't know why. At this point, I'm not really sure why they're like... Oh wait, is it gone? No, it's still playable. Well, at the very least, I can open the launcher for it. I don't know if it's still going to be playable. Let's see what it says. Global Invitational will be ending on March 16th. What do you have to say for yourself, C-Sun? Ending on March 16th at 8:59 Pacific, and account data will be cleared. We thank you for participating. Believes in steering our development and game design based on feedback. We are already hard at work improving our game based on the information that we've collected and look forward to delivering even better content and experiences in the future. Okay. Yeah, whatever. I hope so. I feel like there has been a lot of vocal criticism of how the progression system is shaping up, and I hope that they are honest. Like, I understand that they need to run the studio and make a profit, but I don't feel like you get to be predatory to do that, right? I don't feel like you get to... I don't feel like the drive to, you know, turn a profit can come at the expense of wearing down your players and making them feel like they're not getting anywhere if they don't pay you money. Okay. Why don't we do a little bit of drawing? Unless anyone has any strong opinions about playing something. I think we will just switch over and work on some art for a little bit and go from there. I've got one more little bit of chalk I'm going to treat myself to. Okay, where'd WS go? There you guys are. Get over here. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I am honestly really happy with the progress that we're making. Because, God, going through some of the VODs, you're like poking the rigging shit for a solid year, right? We weren't doing only rigging. Obviously, it wasn't the only thing that we were doing for the stream, but it was a topic of discussion for at least a year. Magic the Gathering deck tweaks. Have you tried Pot of Greed? Can't go wrong with Pot of Greed. Okay. I'm going to switch the topic over. There we go. So, I am happy with, you know, sort of going from a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It feels like we're actually making very substantial progress very suddenly. Which, no complaints from me. Let me close Unreal down. I'm getting a lot of screen flickering, and I don't want to say it's Unreal's fault, but it might be Unreal's fault. Where'd it go? There you are. We went into a deck and just fuck with the playground. Just watch someone have an aneurysm. Okay, So, yeah, we started in on this. I think we got a lot of the shading, like the shadow work in an okay spot. Not 100%, but okay. The big thing that I want to do now is just kind of come in here and work some of the lighting, you know, the cast lighting and all that. And we can also play with some rim lighting too, because who doesn't love a good bit of rim lighting? I will say part of it's fucking flickering. I don't know where that's coming from. Honestly, it might be my tablet monitor. It might be some weird bullshittery with how VBridger and some other programs interact with my tablet monitor, and it just doesn't know what to do with them. Put you over there. And then you can close Steam. I think that'll do for now. There's you. The shipping is more than the card. How is that possible? It's a card. Just stick it in an envelope. So one thing we can actually do, and I've gone a little back and forth on this in the past, but since we're working on each piece individually, right, we don't need to have everything be completely unified. So I can actually take the line work for the hand and flip it. It doesn't help a ton, but it's interesting. I think we'll do like a 50% of that, and then we'll leave another one at multiplied. Just to sort of soften it up a bit like that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I like that. For a card that is banned in every format, the fact that almost $3 for a not damaged card is wild. It's the $3 meme tax. Look, sometimes you just gotta go all in on the funnies. Sometimes you just got a good bit. And you gotta share it. At someone else's expense. Okay, cool. So, go in here like this, and then you can do sort of the same thing, right? Really, there's actually a fair amount of shading that we haven't done, but it's okay. go. Okay, and you go like that, and then you go like that. Lost to a 10-cent card tournament. I bought 500. Covered. You must live with your shame. It's probably for the best that I can't really get into trading card games. I definitely played them when I was younger, but I don't know. I just find them so frustrating. Saves money though. Wait, this one needs to be blue, which is funny because the light, when it blends with the skin tone, actually looks almost the same. Oh no, I'm stupid. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. There we go. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay. I'm honestly not sure how much I'm going to be playing Monster Hunter. Like, my thought was that I was just gonna, play. It was called Active Treason. That is appropriate and fitting. Here, let's get the hair out of the way for a second just so I can properly backlight this. So, my initial thought was, obviously I was going to play Monster Hunter, get through sort of the introductory sequence, build up some gear, and then just kind of play it a little bit casually. I still don't think I'm going to be one of those people that get really into like build specking or min-maxing or any of that. But my wish list, my crafting list, it's a lot more. It's a lot more than I was expecting it to be. And frankly, right now, while it's so popular and so many people are playing Monster Hunter, it is fun to just jump into the game and do hunts with people. Just hang out and go hunting. I definitely sort of have my priorities of like, oh, I want to work on this. I'm looking to make this, so I gotta go after these monsters. But it's also just kind of like, oh, you want to kill a Rathalos? Bet, let's go. I'm always down to kill a Rathalos. It'd be hard to dive that deep into Monster Hunter. You could just dive in when we feel like it. Oh yeah, I do feel like eventually I'm gonna sort of get to a point of just being a very sort of periodic player. Maybe if a streamer's playing Monster Hunter, I'll jump in and sort of get in the lobby and play with them when the mood strikes. But it's not going to be like a regular, a constant thing. some people I know really get into like build crafting and theory crafting and like, oh, well, what if I tried doing this and what if I did that? And I get it. I totally get the appeal of that, right? And I think it's cool that they have games that they can enjoy it that way. For me, I don't know. Like, I definitely see the appeal of it, but I'm just kind of like, Year of God is working. I'm definitely not getting any like speedrun records or anything, but I can competently kill a monster. So, you know, as long as I'm hitting that metric, is there something wrong with that, right? I have a build I want to build, but I will never be able kind of person to build everything. I don't know. I don't think there's a bad thing there. And frankly, I think it's a testament to the game that you can enjoy it in different ways, right? There is no absolute like, oh no, this is the only way that you can play Monster Hunter. And if you don't do it this way, the game will literally just not work for you. You know, one of the things that is one of the ones that is saddest to me, that I'm always very frustrated by, is Smash Bros. Because I really liked Smash Bros. Back in the Smash Bros. 1 and Melee days. And it wasn't anything about Smash Bros. Itself and the way that it developed as a game that turned me off to Smash Bros. It was how people that played Smash Bros. Started treating it more and more seriously. They started treating it more like Tekken or Street Fighter or Guilty Gear, like it was a full-fledged fighting game, and I just wanted it to be a fun little party brawler. But you know, all it takes is the one person who gets really serious about it and metas the fuck out of it, and now it's not a party game anymore. And I was in Ivy's lobby last night. I was playing a little bit before bed. And you know, there was one person in the group that, you know, was not rude about it, was not mean or anything, right? They didn't have a bad attitude, which I appreciate. But they definitely had that much more sort of take it very seriously approach to the game. And it kind of showed, because they would show up in the hunt and then the monster would die. The monster just fucking died. And you're just kind of like, oh. Huh, okay, yeah, alright. What am I... The fuck am I... What? What did I do here? I fucked something up. Oh, okay, I see. So, I don't know. Like, I don't... Like I said, I don't blame them. They, you know, that's the way that they enjoy the game. It's fine. It was a little disappointing. It's like I would see them coming and be like, okay, well, I guess this hunt's over. I could literally just sit back and watch them kill it. During a monthly meeting, the people complained it was only a Smash Bros. Club rather than a game club. Yeah, and that can definitely happen if people are... If it starts to overtake the group, then that's not fun either. For sure. Okay. I'm not gonna worry too much about getting everything exactly right. I mostly just wanna... I look fucking bald! I mean, I guess I technically am bald. I'm taking my hair off, but you get... It's weird. It looks done. It don't look natural. It ain't natural. Oh, my voice is fucked tonight. Yeah, I think it helps that we were a game development club. Obviously, we played games, but that was not the focus of the group. So, we would go hang out after club meetings, we'd get food, and then we'd go to the game lounge, and some nights we'd play Halo, and that would be my time to shine. And then some nights we would play Street Fighter, and that would be my time to get my ass beat. Because I did not, and still do not, know how to play fighting games. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Not everyone has to enjoy every type of game. I tried to learn fighting games once. I don't know. I appreciate them. I appreciate them fine. And like, I enjoy Evo as an event and everything. I think that's a lot of fun. But I like Evo the same way that I like the Dota International. It's cool to watch. I'm never gonna be up on that stage. I don't even like playing the games that they showcase, but good spectator sport. Yeah, I don't know. That makes sense. I think that's fine. Everyone has the problems and the entertainment that works well for them, that they enjoy. And I don't think, the goal should be trying to sort of arbitrarily align to someone else's entertainment. I think it should really just be about what you find that you enjoy. Now, I can appreciate, someone that is really into fighting games and really, gets enthusiastic about it. That's fine. I can't necessarily keep up with the conversation because I don't know everything that's going on with it, but it's like, I'm happy that you have something that you care about. Okay, so if we put the blue and color dodge on this, oh my god, that just nukes it. Fascinating. There we go. That might be too strong. We'll have to play around with it and sort of see what we can get to play nice, but it's got it sort of laid out in an interesting way. Right. Well, and it's a big enough world, it's a big enough industry that we can have both of those. And that's good. Yeah, see, the purple just kind of blends in a similar way, so I don't think color dodge is going to work for what we want. Probably just add lower intensity add. Yeah. Okay. That'll do. Da, 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 da. In that case, we might want to go back in and do the same thing over here. It seems to be working well enough on the skin, but you know, some of the other materials it just wasn't reading correctly or clearly. There are so many layers, I keep forgetting which ones I need to be on. Okay, good. I think we might bounce some of the... I guess we can go ahead and do that. A little bit of that. And then a little bit coming from the crown overhead. There we go. Okay, cool. Layers and layers and layers, layers and layers and layers, layers and layers and layers. Okay. And then we're gonna do one more through here. Okay. Oh, wait, the vest. There you are. I was like, where the fuck is it? Okay, let's see what color dodge looks like for this. And then, oh, interesting. kind of works. And then you can see with the blue. Yep. Okay, I think that will work. I think that'll work fine. Okay, so I want to say that is a good enough pass that we can start coloring stuff in. Maybe. Maybe. Alright. Why don't we just... I guess we can just start at the bottom. Excuse me. We can just start at the bottom and kind of go up from there. I guess technically the bottom is at the back. Hello, Sonic. I'm sorry you can't sleep. I hope you can get some rest soon, but I appreciate you dropping by. It has been a weird sort of week. Da-da. There we go. Okay, yeah, so let's get rid of all the foreground bits. Just because I know they're going to cause me grief otherwise. Oh, well, there it goes. I'll work on the vest parts when I work on the front, just so that we can kind of blend those together in a pleasant way. But for the body, I think we can go ahead and get started there and see what we want to do with it. Yeah, we were doing a bit of game dev stuff earlier, but I am also very tired. And so I didn't have the brain power to keep it going for very long. That's okay. We made some important progress, and that's what matters. We're heading in the right direction, even if it's going to take us a while. As if it hasn't taken a while already. I think I've Pavloved myself into getting sleepy by looking at a phone screen late at night. Like, glowing screens are supposed to mess with your sleep cycle and make it harder to fall asleep, but I get drowsy when I'm lying in bed and looking at my phone. I think just because at this point my programming knows it's like, okay, late night, phone, bedtime soon. Get ready for sleep. Which I suppose is that good? I don't think that's good. I don't think that's actually a good thing. There we go. Wait. Stop. Yeah, I'm putting work into the arm. I shouldn't be doing that. That doesn't go there. Not yet. Okay, yeah, so this part, the sort of underarm area, that's gonna socket with the arm piece. I think we can kind of go like this. Can shade it in. A lot of this is going to be completely covered, so it's not going to super matter, but draw through is important. Big thing. So I think because this part will be under the vest, it's not going to get a lot of like cast lighting or backlighting. Yeah, and then there's kind of this question of how do we deal with the transparency of it, because I always fuck myself over with this part. It's fine. So we can put a little bit of like a darker shade of bluish purple into it. Yeah, I suppose if I wanted to make my life a little bit easier, you could go for something more of like a cell shading approach, just so we don't have quite as much like paint blending to manage, but when has that ever been my way? I've done some cell shading in the past. I don't think I'm particularly good at it. I also haven't practiced it that much. It is dark out, yeah. gonna have to go out after the stream and look for the moon. Be like, are you here, moon? Nope, just clouds. There we go. There we go. Go. Okay. It's getting there, right? It's getting there. We're getting some cool effects going on. Just sort of working that blending. I think I'm gonna adjust the shape of this a little bit. Kind of like that. It's alright. I think I blanked out there for a second. I was just like, when was the last time that anything happened? When did I what? I just kind of got into a trance or something. It's kind of the thing for me that there are times where I'll go into Steam and look at my library and be thinking about, you know, what I want to play, and will pass over games just because they take enough focus or enough attention or enough time that I can't really do anything else while I'm playing them. And, you know, a lot of times I want to be able to draw or something while I'm playing my game, which is kind of silly, but it's just kind of the mindset that I've gotten into. You know, in some games, like I cannot draw while I'm playing Monster Hunter, but I can, you know, take little breaks in between hunts. Alright, no worries, Mage. I appreciate you coming by, I appreciate you hanging out. I hope you get some very good rest, and I hope you have a really good start to your weekend. Everyone say goodnight. Frankly, if it came down to, you know, would I rather just draw, or do I want to play a game? These days, I think a lot of times the answer is draw. Drawing is kind of easy to just get into a nice chill state and de-stress. I don't know, maybe the whole sort of perpetual game has lost a lot of its appeal. Not 100%. Okay, that might be overdoing it, right? Because I'm still, I don't know. I really like where Elite is at, and I really want to play Elite, but I never get around to doing it. I never make the time to actually play Elite Dangerous. And I'm keeping up with the progress on Star Citizen. I'm still kind of waiting for it to not be a pain in the butt to play. I haven't re-subbed to Final Fantasy a while. Played Warframe for a little bit, but I didn't really get back into it that hard. I don't know. Like, I definitely still enjoy the escapism in the sandbox of perpetual world games, where I can sort of like live out little fantasies and work on stuff and build things, and right, like that clearly still has appeal to me. I still enjoy that, but I don't know. I think especially once you start having multiple of them that you're trying to keep up with, it becomes very troublesome, I suppose. Troublesome is a word for it. Overbearing is another word. I don't know that I really even want to like do much of the system colonization myself. It's more just like, I don't know, kind of want to get involved with what other people are doing. Get out there, see the progress that's being made, run cargo, do some exploration. So, there was a video that came out, I don't know if it was today, a couple of days ago. Sort of talking about some of the progress that has been made with Elite, and what people want to see from it, what the plans are for further iterations with it. And once again, the discussion of ship interiors came up. Because right now, with Elite, you have planets that you can land on and walk around on. And so you can leave your ship and walk around on the ground, and then you go back to this little teleporting, or this little blue halo, little blue platform, and you teleport back into your ship into the pilot's chair. You can't get up and walk around your ship in any way. And then in a space station, you can land at the station and you can get out and you can walk around your ship in the hangar bay, and you can go up to this little concourse area and talk to some folks and buy some stuff and take on some missions. And then you go back to your ship and go about your business. But you can't walk freely around the station. You can't EVA around the station. And so there is a constant sort of back and forth in the community of, we want this, no, it's stupid, it wouldn't add anything to the game, it would take a bunch of resources, yada yada yada. I think there is a good faith debate that can be had about like what would be the impact of it, what would be the cost of it, do those balance out, etc., right? You can go back and forth on the merits and everything. To me, and I'm not even going to compare this to Star Citizen, because I think Star Citizen does actually get a lot closer to the fantasy of it, warts aside. So in Elite, there was a time, I remember there was one point where I was doing a ground conflict zone, right, which is essentially set up like a map of battlefield around a settlement on the planet. And the conflict zone had ended, and we were sort of collecting our spoils, and I called my ship in to take off and get out of there. And I had a big ol' Federal Corvette, which is one of the largest ships that you can get in the game, both in terms of rating and in terms of dimensions. And so I'm on foot and I recall my Corvette, and this big honking thing drops in and auto parks itself right outside the settlement. And I'm looking at this thing, and the Corvette was larger than any of the buildings that made up the settlement. It was almost as long as the settlement was on a single dimension, right? This thing was huge by comparison to where we just were. And there's this really cool shot in Star Wars has really gotten into doing this, because now they have the technology to do it, where they have the ships from the perspective of somebody on the ground, right? Like, going back to the original movies, they were all models, and so it was really hard to like have it convincingly like, oh, here's the person and here's the ship, right? You could get away with some. Like, they had the Millennium Falcon people would get on and off of that. You had the Tidarian shuttles, and people would walk up and down the ramps for that. But like the Star Destroyers, they never tried to show the human comparison of a Star Destroyer to anything, right? But then you get like the scene in Rogue One where you have the Star Destroyer parked over Jeddah City, and you get that realization of like, oh yeah, this thing is a city that flies through space. This is not a battleship. This is a base with engines on it and a hyperdrive. And I feel like, you know, obviously the fact that we can get out and walk around the ships, at least on the ground, it helps. But I feel like Elite really has always suffered from a good sort of understanding of how big the ships actually are. Right? Some of it is in the design language, but a lot of it is just in the fact that, you know, especially before Odyssey, there was never really an opportunity aside from, you know, occasionally landing at a settlement, which still was not a great point of comparison because the settlements were always bigger than the ships were. So even the largest ships still kind of felt not that big. And I think the more that the devs can sort of provide opportunities to appreciate the ships in scale and in complexity, the more gratifying it would be. I feel like that's just, I don't know, like obviously it's incomplete, but that's one of the things that I find I enjoy more in Star Citizen than I enjoy in Elite, is having the ship and feeling like it's something that I interact with more totally. It doesn't feel as, I guess the ships in Elite just feel more artificial. And I think it would help them a lot to just have more physicality to the ships, you know, including interiors. I think interiors would be the biggest step. I think that would go the most way to sort of helping the ships feel like a realized thing in a place. You know, I think so. With the latest Microsoft Flight Sim, you know, the devs were really big on like, you know, we want you to be able to do all of this stuff with your planes and helicopters and whatever, right? You can go out to a location and you can land your plane and you can get out and you can do nature photography. You can take pictures of deer and look at all this stuff you can do with your plane. And, you know, some people went, oh, that's really cool. And some people went, guys, I just want to play a fucking flight simulator. Why are you doing all this? And I think a lot of it does kind of come down to the fantasy of I almost said flying a plane versus being a plane. That's kind of right. It's not 100%. I think when you don't have the ability to interact with a plane or act independently of the vehicle, your character is the vehicle, right? Even if they give you a little human avatar that you can be like, you know, here's my face, the thing that you are actually acting through is the character, right? So if you can't get out of the pilot's chair, if you can't walk around, then you are not the pilot, you are the vehicle. You know, in EVE Online, that is written into the canon of the game. You, the pilot, are a capsuleer. You are a human computer in a cryo chamber, not a cryo chamber, a Bacta tank, basically. Matrix hooked up to your ship, commanding it through a neural network. And I assume there are people on board it as well, but you are sort of telling them what to do through your neural connection to the ship. So yeah, like, I think actually well, I don't know how much EVE ever implemented on-foot stuff that you can do, like walking around stations or whatnot, but essentially, yeah, the idea is that the ship is in fact your body. You treat it like your body and interact with the world around you with the ship as your medium. Its sensors are your eyes and ears and tongue. And at that point, it would almost be kind of weird for the player to get out and walk around, right? It's like, okay, if you're hardwired into your ship, how come you can move around? How does that work? I mean, I suppose there was that one character in Outlaw Star that could get in and out of her tank, but it would still be weird. But, you know, in Elite and Star Citizen and Microsoft Flight Simulator, your character is just a person. It's just a dude. How come the dude is like duct taped to the chair forever? You know, back when Odyssey was releasing, there were all these jokes that people were making about the unholy sound that was going to ring out across the galaxy when all of these commanders finally stood up from their chair for the first time and just like peeled off of the flight pleather and stretched their legs for the first time, and their knees explode from disuse. Yeah, that's sad. So, you know, a lot of the space games that we've been getting in recent years have not been shooting to be the everything game, because I think Star Citizen has been a very important lesson for everybody else of like, yeah, trying to do the everything game is really hard, if not impossible. And the fact that CIG is continuing to push forward with it at all is kind of absurd. And if you do it, you are not going to have that same level of luck. You are going to collapse. And I think a lot of developers that are trying to make space games at this point are going, okay, what is the particular element of the fantasy that we really want to focus in on, right? Do we want to focus on strategy? resource management? Do we want to have that sort of like person interact with ship feel? Right? What is the important thing? I think you could actually get a very interesting game going on with. So there have been like crew games before, right? Like Guns of Icarus and everything, where you sort of have your co-op team. You're running around, you're fighting, repairing the ship, doing this, doing that. But one of the things I think could actually save a lot of resources is, with hell, even with a lot of modern combat, right? A lot of modern naval combat in particular. The ships involved are not shooting at line of sight targets, right? They have sensors that have picked up and locked onto targets on the other side of the horizon, and you're firing missiles at where the sensors say your target is. And then the target, their sensors say, oh, we have inbound ordnance, and they lock onto those and they fire point defense cannons. And you get this in The Expanse, that the ships don't see each other. There are no windows. They're not pointing at each other and going, oh yeah, they're right there. If there were a window, maybe they could see the dim blue of the exhaust plume. I know they do have cameras on the exterior of the ships, and sometimes they'll mention that, but when they're in combat, it's all readouts and indicators. So I feel like you could get a really interesting sort of game where your crew is running around doing missions in combat and whatnot, and you never see the exterior of your ship, right? You never see the other vessels that you're fighting or interacting with. They're all indications on your HUDs. I feel like that could be an interesting experience. It could be something worth experimenting with, possibly, potentially. There's one I've been keeping my eye on called Falling Frontier, which definitely sort of hits a lot of the thematic elements that I think Expanse combat, naval actions in The Expanse, I should describe it, aims for it as well. And they're making slow and steady progress. They've been showing some videos showing how the game is coming along, but they've also, I don't think they've promised like a release date or anything yet, but it's getting there. But even there, like they have these well concepted and rendered models of the ships, and when you get into combat, you can see the entire array of all the ships and where they are, and it's still a very visually directed sense of warfare. It is not all like dots on a hologram like Ender's Game would be. That was one thing that really pissed me off. Like, I get that it is visually more impressive, and they wanted to turn Ender's Game into a mass market whatever. But at the end of the movie, spoilers, they're doing this whole fleet action against the alien homeworld. And in the book, the kids had gone through these war games. They had sort of understood this is that we're gonna sort of play these strategy sessions and develop tactics and learn how to deal with different scenarios. And Then they get to sort of this final training center, and they're doing the same thing there, right? They're sort of running through this war scenario of sequential battles at different planets with different enemy compositions, and they get to, you know, this scenario of the alien homeworld with all of these fleets out in front of them, and it's like, okay, we need to somehow get to the enemy planet and detonate this super weapon. And if we can do that, then mission accomplished. But how do we do that with this fleet that has been attritioning battle over battle? But the movie presents it with like such a level of fidelity that it completely looks like an actual battle, that you're getting this visual representation, this visual transmission of what's going on, right? And so, I don't know, like, to me, it took away from the twist ending. It's like, yeah, how could you not look at this and think that it was a simulation? Or how could you look at this and think it was a simulation and not real? Like I said, I know they wanted to have a nice, big, bombastic visual blockbuster. I get it, but it was just one of the things that I feel like, yeah, this was a thematic disconnect that tells me that you didn't understand the source material. And or didn't care. Could be both. Could be both. They say not to attribute to malice what could just be stupidity, but it could always be both. Distinct chance. I'm gonna knock this down a little bit. My chooms, as much as I am enjoying this, as I always do, I do think we're gonna probably call this stream a little bit early, because I'm just very tired. And I don't want to belabor the point and just kind of sit here and not be not be at my best for you guys. And try and get rested up so that we can have a happy, exciting Saturday stream. And hopefully figure out how to deal with work shenanigans tomorrow, so we can at least have it in an okay place for the end of the week. There we go. There we go. Okay. This is going like this. one of the things I need to do this weekend is sort of sit down with the YouTube channel, and then one, I need to start releasing the VODs and everything. I need to open that floodgate, but also I just need to go in and sort of see what the recordings for these last 2 streams have looked like, and if that's gonna keep working, or if we need to make some revisions to the plan. I think it's fine, but you know, gotta actually go in and see what it did and see if that's working. I think it is. We've got a lot still to clean up here, but I think it's coming along. I think we're... I mean, admittedly, it looks very strange that we just have a torso with nothing on it. And it's like, no, this is gonna look great. Trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me. It's gonna be great. Okay. Starting to come along. We got most of the cleanup done, at least. Sort of figured out a little bit of the volume stuff. Oh no. No, don't do that. Mother. Okay, there we go. Cool. And yeah, I think what I would like to do for this, so let's grab a little bit of this blue for our shirt. So if I really wanted to be extra super considerate of, you know, how is this gonna move around and everything, we would want to get rid of the background, right? Because we're not preserving the transparency super well. But the thing is, you know, at most what this is gonna do would sort of be like to sort of drift in this area, right? A little bit like that, which the gradient isn't shifting enough. It's not offsetting from its starting position enough that you would be able to tell, oh, you know, it's not aligning to that position anymore. There's weirdness afoot. So I think it's fine to just sort of fill it in, given we know the colors that it needs to be to hit that alignment. I'm not too worried about that getting into funkiness of some kind. The bigger question is going to be getting some of it to blend well with each other. We're getting like the colors to wrap over the shoulders and everything in a pleasant way. that. That's not too bad. I think for this, we're gonna get a little bit of a rim light going as we go sort of over the shoulder. We're gonna get some light coming down from the rings above. And that'll kind of hit like this. We'll sort of fill out this plane of not the trapezius. What is that muscle group? The part of the trapezius that wraps over the shoulder and sort of comes down to the collarbone and creates that pit of the collar. I don't remember what that's called. Yeah, I'm just kind of working on the parts independently for now. We will need to start putting them all on together and balancing elements to make sure that it all plays nicely. It's like, just as an example, if we bring the arm back up, I think that's sitting pretty well right now, but we're going to need to make sure that this sort of transition along the shoulder seam can be continuous and smooth. I'm feeling a bit better. I think where we left the stream, or where we left the drawing at the end of Tuesday, was sort of in that leap of faith area, where it's like, it's getting there, but as much as I can sort of see the plan, I'm also just trusting in the plan. And the more that we sort of get into this and we can start to refine some of the ideas and clean it up and fuss with it a bit more, it's more like, okay, now I'm really sort of starting to feel it. Sorry, get this nice back and forth. Right. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. As much as I would love to do a little bit of Monster Hunter tonight, either do a hunt or two on stream or just find some group to hunt with, I should probably just go to bed. Just call it an early night and try and get some rest. Yeah, I don't know why I keep feeling the need to like defend myself or anything. But again, like I'm really liking Monster Hunter. I don't see it being like an everyday type of game, right? I'm not gonna log on and do Monster Hunter constantly. Frequently, but not constantly. No. Yeah, this is just too far down. This needs to be more like that. And just not as wide on this side, I don't think. Yeah. There we go. Okay, cool. Smooth out a little bit. So this will take us a little bit, I think. You know, getting through all the parts, massaging them, fitting them together, then getting it over into Live 2D to set things up. But you know, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a fun little project. I do want to work on the animatic at some point, but you know, we can bounce around between them, right? I don't think any of these are like, oh, you know, we have to get them done by a certain date. There is no pressing need. They're at our leisure. One thing I do actually want to do, and that might shift the drawing project, the drawing focus around a little bit. We haven't really done any gift art yet this year. I want to get back into doing that. So I might check in on folks and see when like birthdays or special events or whatnot are, and see if anybody has something coming up. The other one is I want to do something for May 4th, right, for Star Wars Day, because we did that last year and I think that was fun. I actually have an idea in mind already that could be a fun little dynamic action shot. Could be fun to work on. So you know, that would probably be something that we do in April, just to give ourselves ample time to work on it. Because despite all the ups and downs, and there are many ups and many downs, I am still a fan of Star Wars. I still love it. It still means a lot to me. So I would like to celebrate that aspect of it. Okay. Let's just turn everything back on and sort of see where we're sitting with it now, right? Yeah, so you can sort of see how it's starting to come together, right? I'm not going to worry too much about resizing it right now. I think once we get it into Live 2D and we sort of move stuff around, we can see if something, like maybe the torso's feeling a little too small or the head's feeling a little too big, something like that. Yeah, we can make a couple of those adjustments later if we are still feeling like it. But I think the direction is good. I think we are going towards a good place. And we can keep playing around with it and refining the details, adding in little cloth folds and whatnot, and fun odds and ends. There's a few things like the buttons in the vest and the lapel pins and everything that I haven't added yet. So definitely more to do. But I think we're off to a good start with it. Okay. Well, I know it is early, but I think that is a good stopping point. I apologize for that. I know it is early, but I appreciate you guys hanging out still, and I hope you enjoyed the stream. I'm glad, like I said, are you stuck on something? Like I said, I'm glad we were at least able to sort of test some of the stuff with the game, with some of the animation cropping, and sort of figure out like, okay, this is the plan. This is what we think we're gonna do. Obviously, there's some issues with the whole destructive nature of copying everything over, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I just wish there was a better way to crop it, but we'll work on that more later, and then we'll keep working on this drawing on Saturday. I think we'll definitely work on it on Saturday, and then yeah, maybe next week we can sort of alternate a bit between this and working on the animatic, and just kind of mix it up a little bit, right? Keep all the various juggling balls in the air. Let's see who is online right now. Who can we raid? Who can we say hello to? God, who did we raid on Tuesday? I'm already blanking on who we raided on Tuesday. It wasn't. It was Fasani. That's who it was. I was like, what did we do? Oh no. My brain is mush. I was hoping we might raid Eve tonight. Eve is always a very hard one to catch for raid because I don't know, she has a very regimented stream schedule, and I respect that a lot. I think that's very good. I think that is very healthy. But it's just like she starts around the same time. Oh no worries. Like I said, we're ending early, so you it made sense. It made sense at the time. Okay. Why don't we go say hi to Allie? We haven't popped by Allie's stream in a while. I think that would be good to go check in on them. She is playing some Elden Ring. She's working through some more Elden Ring. So let's go head that way and go say hello. Or wait. Oh, wait. Dang it. Okay. Bit of a change of plans. Fuck. I feel bad. But next time. We'll do that next time. Boru is playing Monster Hunter. He's playing Monster Hunter with Coco. So let's go say hi to them. Let's go wish them well. Let's go wish them happy hunting. I would really like to hang out, but I think I'm just gonna call it a night after we do the raid. Sorry. Staying hydrated. Okay. Why don't we go ahead and do that? That sounds like a plan to me. We're gonna do a sleepy raid tonight. It is sleepy raid time. Yes. Taking care of oneself is very important. You gotta look out. You know, when you got needs to take care of, you gotta take care of them. Just trying to ignore them or put them off just kind of piles it up, and then it becomes a real problem. But procrastination is it is an art form. So I don't know where I'm going with this. I ran out of brain power like an hour ago. Alright. Let's go ahead and get that raid bustle rolling. I'm gonna go say hi to Boru and his crew. So yeah, thank you guys again for hanging out. I know it was low energy, it was kind of blah, but I appreciate it as always. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Saturday, we shall be returning to the Sisyphean task that is Hades. We shall be fighting our way through the levels of hell. No more monsters. On to demons. Back to demons. And the Furies and the dumbass muscle-brained heroes of Elysium. And all those good times. We shall be discovering the mysteries there. And then yeah, I think we'll work on this drawing some more. I'm probably gonna go get some sleep. Probably hang out in the stream for a little bit, but call it a night soon. But until Saturday, I hope everyone gets some very good rest yourselves. I hope you have a really good start to your weekend. I hope you guys get to do something fun this weekend. Take a little time for yourself. Enjoy yourselves. Yes. Dang it, I had a whole thing that I wanted to talk about this stream, and I completely forgot what it was. But as always, remember to be kind to others, and to be kind to yourselves, because you guys are doing a great job, and I'm really proud of you, and I really appreciate you, and the time is going, bye! Hmm.
Oh shit.
Mm. Dumb bastard.
Oh shit. Why are my balls popping? Stop that. You dumb motherfuckers. Something down there. I don't care.
Sorry, kid. I tried.
I tried. $11.26. Yeah, I think it's actually okay once we get. Yeah, we've got a bunch of in the stream, damn it. Yes, end it. God.